This conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, could I have approval of the June 11th meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve those.
I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, so now we'll have canvas of the primary elections in 2020.
So the forms that I gave you, the very first one is the abstract. This is what is sent into the commissioner or to the Secretary of State's office. And this is the information that comes off of vote night. And it's the same information you're going to see on 3 other forms, basically. We had 10 provisionals that we ran on Monday after 3 o'clock, last Monday after 3 o'clock per statute, and it changed the race between commissioner just a little bit. So it turned out to be 317 to 304, which isn't in the recount range. Anything that is 10 votes different is an automatic. So this wasn't in the range of the 0.5% or the 0.25% for a recount. So this is what it's going to get. This is the actual form that gets certified to the Secretary of State's office. It comes directly out of their election program, and it's kind of hard to read because of the way they do it on so many different pages and stuff.
And you did conduct the audit.
The audit,
They did.
yep, and the audit paperwork is right here if you guys would like to see it. We had to audit the city of Shelby and Shelby Rural. So we audited 829 ballots for 3 different races. And those races are done by the Secretary of State's office. They rolled dice on Tuesday, last Tuesday, they rolled dice, and those precincts are determined by them. So here are the ladies who did the tallying and the reading and the audit. Here is their tally sheets, and then the sheets that I have to send into the Secretary of State's office if anybody would like to look at those. I also have the tapes that came out of the machine that tallied, and they match the audit for the city of Shelby and Shelby Rural. That all matches. The next The next thing you have in your reports is the instructions to the report that follows the instructions. The legislature has determined through Senate Bill 440 that we need to fill out these reports for them because they believe it's easier for them to understand it. But you have to have the instructions for you to understand it. Because some places it's counting UOCAVA voters, some places it's not, some places it's counting the provisional ballots in, some places it's not. So this is their form. So like if you look at that, the first thing tells you how many registered voters we have as of the end of 8 o'clock on election night. We had 9 people that registered as new voter registers that night or in that time period that they're using. Then it tells you how many ballots were issued at the polls, how many ballots were issued absentee, how many ballots were provisional, how many ballots were issued for UOCAVA voters, which is our federal or military and overseas citizens. Then it tells you a whole total of all the ballots that we issued. Then it tells you the ballots that we accepted at the polls, what we accepted as absentee, what we accepted as provisional, what we accepted as UOCAVA, and then it tells you the total votes that were accepted. Then the next column is going to tell you what we rejected. We rejected 23 absentee ballots because of no signature or signature mismatch, or they didn't put their birth year on it. Then you turn the page and you have total rejected number of voters that weren't assigned credit. That's the same number as the ones of absentee ballots that came in that we rejected. The next one is the ballots that they received credit when they came in because their signature and all the information was there correct. But then we rejected them later when we opened the signature or the secrecy envelopes because they voted more than one ballot. We had 23 of those
Okay.
that were rejected and did
Well,
not,
that's fine. That's the same
Yeah.
number.
that did not,
That's weird.
it did not get counted because they sent back more than one voted ballot, but they had voted more than one race. It all has to do with the instructions. Then you have ballots that were totally voided, and there was 10 of those. Those are ballots that are voided as an absentee or for some reason, and then they're issued another one. Like they misplaced it, they never got it in the mail, the dog ate it. They come in, they fill out a form, and then we cancel that other ballot, so it can't be returned, and then we have to reissue them another one.
Those are, those don't have anything to do with the 23 and 22 we rejected.
No,
Yeah.
no, totally different.
Right.
Totally different. When you look at an actual ballot count of how many ballots we issued, there's 10 of them in that number that we issued again.
Again, okay,
See what I mean?
yeah.
So then the total ballots that we accepted to count from the polling place and from the absentee was 1,283. And then there's your breakdown of how they were accepted to count to the 1,283 again, the 1,283 again. Then it talks about the test ballots that we used, how many we printed, how many were tested, how many we counted, and that's in the weeks going up to the election. But when you go to the last page, you will see that Sunburst at the very bottom did not reconcile. Sunburst issued 104 ballots. 3 of those were provisional ballots, so they were not counted election night. So when we counted their ballots, there should have been 101 ballots counted. There was 105 ballots counted. Why do you ask? Because the ladies in Sunburst, and they won't be doing this anymore, they let the people put their ballots in. The people put their ballots in the wrong box. There's a voted box that you put your ballots in, and there's an unvoted box for the primary ballots you don't vote on.
Oh,
They put them in the voted box.
Because the other person usually takes the unvoted one.
They take off the stuff, and then those people are supposed to have folded those 2 ballots in half and put them in the unvoted. It didn't occur twice in Sunburst where they put their unvoted ballots in the ballot.
Well, I think, when I go to these places, I think they did an excellent job of explaining things, about voting
And all
really
of that. They do in Sunburst too. Sunburst rarely has an issue at all. But there were a couple people that did that put all of their ballots in one box. So, and I have to explain that to the Secretary of State's office of why I have 4 more ballots. Right. I'm supposed to have.
Right. I bet that happens all.
Well, and even if they see the person do that, they can't open that box and take them out. No, they cannot open that box. So
yeah.
Did they make you aware of that?
no, I called her the next day and said,
Okay.
so the judges are fully aware of it now. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to learn nowadays being a judge.
There's way,
I mean, it's way over the top almost.
yeah, it is.
And
changed.
especially when you can't get people to do it. They're the same people forever. And when they first started being an election judge, We didn't have provisionals, we didn't have late registration, we didn't have hardly any absentees. I mean, it was way different now.
Yeah, it is. It is way different. They all do a really good job. Primary election is hard for everybody because of the 3 ballots or 4 ballots, or parties you get running. It is a little bit more difficult for the voter to understand and sometimes for the judges also. But no, for something that they do twice a year, every 2 years, they do a good job. They do a really good job remembering it. Then the last spreadsheet is a spreadsheet that we do, because I think it is way more comprehensive than anything else of these other reports. It gives you,
I don't know why they couldn't just use this. Really,
it's way more comprehensive.
it is.
You have all of your polls broke down, you have all your candidates broke down, how many votes were at each poll.
Undervotes, overvotes.
And on your other reports, you won't find from the state's office anything that ever talks about undervotes and overvotes. In my personal opinion, I think that's very important because right here, somebody in this race for state senator District 9, there were 60 undervotes. Well, if I don't count the undervotes and the overvotes, I can't reconcile the number.
No.
Or write-ins, but there were no write-in candidates in this election.
Those undervotes are just ballots, they didn't vote for that,
They didn't vote for that person,
right?
or they voted a ballot that that person wasn't on.
Oh,
So most of our candidates are Republican candidates, and we don't have any local candidates that are on the Democratic ballot or the Libertarian ballot. So then they vote those ballots, and these are undervotes, whether they didn't do the circle or they voted a different ballot.
or you don't know.
You don't get a vote. Yeah, you're not getting a vote for that race on there.
So they could have been Democrat,
Yep,
those 60,
yep. So then you can go to the next page and you can see how many Democratic ballots, Libertarian ballots, and Republican ballots
Right.
that we receive. And that percentage is always large in our county and stuff. And then you can also see the percentages of the absentee ballots that were returned and sent. And then you have the ballots that were not returned that were absentee, the ones that we got that are deliverable, or the 23 that they didn't do their name or their birth year correctly.
Hmm.
So we had an overall voter turnout of 49.3%, and that's really not bad. It's pretty close to normal for a midterm election. I was a little surprised that Shelby Rural had a higher percentage of returning of their absentees because it's always Devon. Devon Galata always has the highest.
Oh.
But we had a 74% return on our absentee ballots, which is good. That's good. Not really sure how you get 74% for that.
yeah.
That doesn't add up. I wonder if my formula is wrong in that column, because 74 does not add up on that.
And it's over 6, 7,
It should be in the low 60s.
yeah.
But we had 900 returns, so that's pretty good.
I noticed compared to the last few years, that it's not as many people voting on the Democratic ticket that there has been in the past.
No, I want to say that our last primary that we had for a midterm election, I was thinking there was 200 and some that was on there. But
Yeah,
maybe that
hard
was
to add.
actually the presidential one. It might have been the presidential primary, not the midterm.
Well, that's what I think,
Yeah, it might have been
was
the
more-
presidential one.
because it seemed like when it was like 333 consistently.
It's always
Yeah,
usually
you
around
know.
200.
And it's consistent though. But a midterm's really hard to compare.
It is. It very much
You
is.
have to compare it to the midterm. And whether it's presidential.
And the Secretary of State says that the percentage statewide compared to the percentage of the last midterm primary, it's up. I don't know if that's, but that's what she says.
Looks like 61%.
Probably. I'll have to check that percentage on that line. That formula.
Very good.
Do the percentage vary from the 1473 to the 900? I'm thinking that's what it is.
That's 61.
Oh, that's the one you did 60. I thought you did the row down.
Oh, no,
I was thinking the row across from what we issued to what was returned.
that's, yeah, I just divided 900 by
Okay,
1473.
yeah, that must be. That formula must be wrong.
The voter turnout worked, right?
Well, better be. That one's not a formula, that's one I answered. So any questions? Would you like to see the tapes and check them to the abstract of votes? And then there's the,
You didn't have any complications, troubles with the machine.
no complications with the machine. One machine doesn't want to turn off, it wants to stay on all the time while it's plugged in. It's really weird. Jackie thought I didn't turn it off the other day, and then we did it again on Monday when we did the provisional ballots. And I opened up the lid and unlocked it and stuff, and I'm just, Jackie, this machine's on. She goes, "You turned it off. I saw you." Yeah, I saw it. And it's like, it wants to be on.
That's interesting.
It's all locked up and everything, and it wants to be on.
Does it have battery in?
Yes, it does, but we always just use the electricity. So the battery might restart it, I don't know. But no, we had no complications with the machines counting the ballots. We didn't have any complications.
So everything's good.
Do you have any questions?
I don't.
Do you want to look at any of that? Because it's there for you if you would like. And I don't wrap these tapes this small, but Jackie can get them this.
Well, what I know is, it wouldn't be this far, but it's right.
I told you by now.
You'd be full of your hamburger. Oh, God.
So the races that we audited in those two precincts was the Democratic race for U.S. Representative, 2nd Congressional District. We didn't have to do the Republican or the Libertarian because there was no contest.
Oh, sure.
And then we had to do State Senator, the Republican, Lou Jones and Zach Worth, because the others didn't have any competition. And then we had to do the Supreme Court Justice. And so that one takes in all the ballots voted because they were on the Libertarian and the Democratic ballot also. So those are the races they had.
There's no Secretary of State, right?
Not this time.
Not this time.
No. And then these are the sheets that the girls. And I appreciate Blair and I appreciate Boyd for letting me have each one of them, let me have one of their employees. And then Julie Ray from the Department of Revenue.
That was supposed to take 2 days.
Yes, it should have. It should have. The reason why it didn't though was because on these races, they didn't make us do all the candidates. They only made us do the party that had competition.
And you have
So, yeah, and that cut down tremendously.
Mm.
Now in November, if they pick the city of Shelby and Sunburst, those are our 2 largest precincts. Then it will be all of the candidates. There'll be 4 candidates for all of the federal and state races and stuff like that. So whatever federal and state races they choose, it will take longer. Because for two of these, they only had two candidates in each race, and then the congressional district, they only had three candidates to do.
Okay.
Any other questions? Boyd, do you have questions?
No? I don't think so. Crystal clear. Huh? Crystal clear. Pretty much.
Well,
It is
thanks,
what
you
it
guys,
is.
for all you do.
You're welcome.
It's a tremendous job. It
It's
really
a long week.
Well, people just always think it's election day. It's 6 months minimum, or almost
July,
a
we
whole
wouldn't-
year.
July, we won't have much election stuff, but then it starts right back up.
August.
Yeah.
The middle of
August till the end of the
November.
year. Because even this month, it'll go until the 29th until they get the state canvas. I just know that my husband's very glad that he doesn't have to hear about elections next year.
Probably.